a pretty auspicious day. It's a festive day. And I'll start the session by first wishing all of you a very happy Holi. So I hope all of you had a great day, and let's then start our discussion for today, which is more around the idea of how does AI really work out in the real world. So thank you for your wishes, and I hope all of you really enjoyed it. So before I start, what I will do is, if all of you could quickly tell me the kind of audience that I'm speaking to today. So if you can quickly tell me what is your background in terms of what is your total years of experience, what is the role that you're playing, and which company and location. These four things would do: your total years of experience, the current role, the company that you're working for, and which place. Okay, so we have Teradata, 10 years Dhruv, DBA, excellent. So we have Arun, who's the account manager, 17 years, Hexaware, New Jersey, in US. We have Nirmal, Chennai, mainframe developer, 8 years. Raja is 5 years, TCS. Okay, IBM developer, Bangalore, DB developer. Aniket is Godrej, Mumbai, 10 years. Okay, excellent. Okay, I think now the numbers are started pouring in quite a bit fast. So Amit is an Auto Ninja, 12 years. Ramya, SharePoint developer. Karthik is web developer, Sweden. Satish is 12 years, HCL. Karthik, it must be okay. It's pretty good. I think it's sometime in the afternoon or late evening, I would say. So it's in the late evening for Karthik. Okay. So we have Pranab from Kolkata. Okay. And we have okay, Lena is a faculty member. Okay, glad to have faculty members also joining in. She has 15 years, college, KJ Somaya College of Science and Commerce, excellent. So we have Sandeep, Ruby on Rails developer, 1 year, 8 years. Okay, I see the spread is quite huge. People are coming in from all walks of life, excellent. So before I start the session, I'll give you a little brief about myself. My name is Suchit Majumdar, and I'll be your instructor or your host for today. Our primary goal for today is to first understand what exactly is this world of AI. I mean, we have been hearing a lot around the buzzword AI, and everybody is like going bonkers around, okay, we'll do AI, we'll do AI. But is it that difficult or is it that easy? That's the question that always pops up in our mind. Along with that, if you are doing AI, what are the basic things that you should know and you should have in place so that at least you can get started? If not become an AI expert, but you can at least get started, because that's how we build expertise. We start small and then we think big. Okay, so how do you start small and how do you think big? That's what we're going to do for today. So are we all geared up? Can I start the session and start discussing around what exactly is AI? And after that, to make things a little more interesting, we'll actually get into a hands-on. Okay, so a quick yes, if all of you are all geared up. Okay, great. So first things first, what exactly is AI? So how many of you have heard this word AI? I think all of you might have heard the word AI. So what does AI mean? So if you guys can write in your information or your idea of AI. So I don't need the technical definition of AI, but what do you understand in simple sense? What exactly is AI? Making machines mimic humans. Okay, Dhruv, good. I think it's a good attempt, I would say. Business intelligence, Praveen, I don't really would say business intelligence is a small part of it, but not the entire part. Shubhadeep says it means machines can think. Yes, pretty close enough. Machine learning is equal to artificial intelligence. No. So D, if you can write in your full name, I can't see your full name. So machine learning is not equal to AI, and AI is not equal to machine learning. It's a sub part of AI. Wherever we can automate the process and help concentrate on meaningful things, that could also be done by machine learning. You wouldn't need AI. Okay, but I'm really glad to see all of the inputs, because it shows that all of you have been trying to give some more information, or at least dig through the idea of AI and you're trying to extract what does it mean and how does it relate back to real world. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll walk you all through a simple idea of what exactly is AI, and in the initial part, I'll actually explain you what AI is all about, and later on, you'll see why what we think AI is actually not what AI is in today's world. So we have a different perception of AI, and somehow that perception is a little far-fetched dream right now. We have not reached that level at all. So let me start with the simple idea of what is AI and what it is not. Okay, and after that, I'll cover what are the basic job opportunities that you'll find pretty prevalent in this space right now. Finally, AI plus cloud, which is basically the winning combination because in today's world, I really don't want to invest money on buying hardware. I would rather rent it out. And where do you rent it? You rent it on cloud. So cloud companies like AWS, GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform, or Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft Azure. So they all are giving you so powerful solutions in today's world that even if you're not a very good coder, even if you're not somebody who's been a techie for ages, you can still run your own AI-enabled products just with few simple instructions that they have already provided us. Okay, so I'll actually walk you through a few such use cases, and you yourself will realize that things are not that difficult that we perceive them to be. So first, what exactly is AI? Now, McCarthy and Minsky, like these are famous computer scientists who actually who deduce this kind of definition for AI. What they say is any task performed by a program or a machine that if a human carried out the same activity, we would say human had to apply intelligence to accomplish the task. So my question to all of you is, if I have to move files from desk A to desk B and I have to do it multiple times, do you really need to apply intelligence to do that? Moving files from desk A to desk B. So you have desk A files and you have to move these files to desk B. Is it something that you have to really apply brains? No. So this kind of task, it's just a repetitive task. You don't really have to apply brains. And for this, I think automation is a very simple mechanism. Okay, automation is a very simple mechanism where any repetitive task, you kind of just code it out and let the code do the same task over and over again. Or it's like copying your files from C some XYZ location to D some XYZ location. This is not something where you really need to apply brains. It can be automated by just few lines of code. But the question is, what kind of task do you think humans might need to apply intelligence and which computers can also mimic or computers can also perform the same task? So let me put up a simple use case. A very simple use case could be something like, what could the price of my used car be? What is the price of used car? The price of used car. Why do we need intelligence here, friends? Isn't it something that I could have done it through few steps, few standard steps? Does it really solve my problem? Why do I need intelligence here? Where does intelligence come in this picture? Analysis, very good. Based upon current condition, absolutely, it is very subjective, right? Your price could be dependent on a lot of things. It need not only be about just that it's because it's Maruti, it's 80,000 rupees. No, it doesn't work that way. Every Maruti is unique in itself. Everybody has a different way to kind of be evaluated upon. Every car has attributes, and each of these attributes actually decide the price. And end of the day, you need people to think through and tell how does this price get derived. What if the same activity can be pushed to machines to be executed? If machines can look at the attributes of the car and tell you that, yes, so this is what the expected price could be, we would say, yes, if humans had done it, humans would have used brains or intelligence. Similarly, your machine is also applying intelligence in some way and is deducing the price of a car. So this kind of solution, usually we call it as machine learning solution, where machines learn the idea about a car and it tells you what could the probable price of a used car be based on the characteristics that it sees. On similar lines, there could be something a little different. Something like we can have bus stations and police stations which have CCTVs. Okay, we all have seen CCTVs in bus stations and police stations. These CCTVs are watching faces. They are watching faces of people who are traveling in that bus station or railway station or airport. Now, if a human were watching these faces, would the human be able to identify a terrorist from a regular person? Would the human be able to identify a terrorist from a regular person? No, if the human is watching personally and he knows, or he or she knows that a particular person is a terrorist, so that face this person remembers. So when I show the faces in the crowd, the human would definitely be able to identify, right, that this person is the terrorist. Now, does a human need to apply brains there? Does a human need to apply intelligence there? Definitely. How would the human know if a person is terrorist or not terrorist? Because one, he remembers the face and tries to match the face. Okay, the human is trying to match the face. The human is not saying the fifth person. So first you pass one person, then you pass second, then you pass third, then you pass fourth, then you pass fifth. Fifth guy is terrorist. That's not how the human is thinking. The human is trying to identify the pattern that he remembers in his brain. And that's an intelligence that the human is applying. So today's world, even machines can do that. And what does machine mean here, friends? What do you think machines mean? It could be a computer, it could be a server, okay, where your program is running. So if the program can look into different faces in the crowd, say a railway station or a bus stand, okay, look at different faces in the crowd and identify, match the face, pattern of this face with the known databases of terrorists. Okay, you have a known database of terrorist faces, and this computer just runs some kind of program to go through all of these faces in the crowd and match them with this database. So again, they are applying some kind of intelligence. How do you match this face with this face? Okay, and that's how deep learning can be the same, right? Deep learning is the answer. That's what you're saying. Yeah, so that's how computers actually identify. Okay, so here computers are applying brains, but then this is very limited. It can even go to even bigger things. How many of you watched this movie called as Terminator? So I believe all of you, or most of you, might have watched this movie Terminator. And in Terminator, if you see, Arnold Schwarzenegger is basically a AI. That's the true AI that we think of. A machine that is capable of thinking, executing, and doing whatnot. Okay, it's a replacement of human to a great possibility. Okay, that is where the whole percept of AI is, that if a machine can do a work that a human, if the human had done it, the human would have had to apply brains, then we can call it as an AI. So the machine is applying artificial intelligence. It's not natural intelligence, but it's artificially developed intelligence. So this is basically the idea of AI. And AI is a very broad term. It's a very broad term. In today's world, we actually don't have that hold of AI that we have seen in movies. Movies have actually got it to a new level altogether, but we are very far from that place. A computer, can it serve you tea? Can a computer by itself serve you tea? No, the computer can't come and give you the tea because it has no hands, no legs. Okay. When you add hands and legs to a computer, what do you get? You get a robot. Okay. So does the robot, can we call a robot as a computer? Internally, the robot is running computer along with some hardware. Okay. Some external hardware that is serving you the tea. So the whole point is, at the end of the day, it is all of a game of this small thing called as processor. So these processors are actually, they are like the brains of the computer. Now you need a full-fledged humanoid. You need a person who's a robot but can actually interact in the human way, can serve you tea. You need to just fit this brain into this computer. Okay, this is again a hardware by itself, makes no sense. You feed it. This is a robot. Okay, so the idea of AI is not about the hardware. It is about what is going on in the brain of the computer, which is the processor. Okay, so the number of fields that are associated with AI, they are tremendous. I mean, there are a lot of fields. Even your Alexa is a kind of an AI device. Okay, but can Alexa actually serve you tea? No. Okay, so can Alexa run for you? No. Can Alexa take a backflip? No. So AI does not imply the hardware side of the story. AI implies the brain of the computer. How does a computer process these things? That is more important. Other things, it gets into extended fields such as robotics or audio devices or video devices. So those are all extension. But at the very core is the brain. The brain is the processing, and how does computer process, or how do computers process all of these kinds of information? That's where AI is all about. So what does AI basically imply is, how does a particular problem statement you have, how does the computer plan? How does the computer plan to solve it? How does it learn from existing information? How does it reason? So if you have kind of seen some kind of pattern in the data, how do you reason the output that you are suggesting? So if you are suggesting that the price of the car is 1.2 lakhs, okay, it's a used car, you said its price is 1.2 lakhs. So how does the computer reach to that 1.2 lakh figure? That reasoning, problem solving. So you have a certain problem. How do I go about solving that problem in steps? Knowledge representation. Sometimes you want to show how did you even understand the patterns of the historical data. In history, I saw that Maruti 800s, which are like 15 years old. They are priced at say 40,000 to 50,000. Ones which are 14 years old, they are priced at 60,000. Ones which are less than 10 years old, they're priced at close to 80 to 90,000. So how do you kind of showcase these ideas? So this knowledge representation, perception, what do you feel? So if there's an environment around you, you are driving you are sitting in a self-driving car, and this car has to see what is happening around it. It has to perceive around it what is going on. So all of these information that is being fed into this computer, how does it process? That's all about AI. How do you move forward? If you are riding a self-driving car, how do you go forward? If there's a red signal, do you go forward? Do you stop? Do you hit brakes? Do you slow down? What do you do? So how do you control that? So all of these information has to be pumped from the brain, and that is the most important part. Finally, how do you manipulate so that if suppose there's a car in front of you, do you stop and wait for the car to go away? Or if you want, you can overtake the car. So how do you manipulate the situation to go around reaching your end goal? So these are mostly ones which can be mathematically defined. These are the ones which can be understood by the computers if you can put it in the right way. Something that computers cannot understand is on the human front. Okay, it's more about the human front. Humans are excellent when it comes to creativity and social intelligence. Do you think humans can feel pain? Do you think humans can feel pain? Definitely, humans can feel pain, but can a computer understand what is a pain? The computer will never understand because it doesn't have flesh and bones. It doesn't have a life. So you really can't expect the computers to understand pain. Creativity. Humans have created things which they have never seen. They have created it from their own vision, their own imagination. Can computers ever do that? Or even if you just consider today, I don't know about future, but today, till date, do you think even if there's a AI enabled system, do you think that is deduced by the computer? Do you think the computers have that brain to kind of come up with creative ideas? Definitely not. Computers have not reached that stage where they can start thinking by themselves. They can come up with creative ideas. They can come with ideas which actually speak about how do you play a certain instrument, how do you build a new music tune which you have never heard of. Okay, so that's where creativity comes in. Computers have not reached that stage. AI is not anywhere close to that. What about Sophia robot? It's just a robot. I would say it's a metal box. which has hands and legs and a facial I would say, a system that can mimic few emotions that humans have. And based on the discussion that you are doing with Sophia, it'll interpret what is the sentiment and give you a smile or be sad about it. It's more like a robot that has been taught how to talk. Okay, so it's not even AI. It's not totally AI. It's a weak AI. We'll come to what is a weak AI in some time. So yeah, that's basically the next slide. So there are three primary kinds of AI: narrow, general, and super. Coming to the idea of narrow, general, and super, right now, whatever you're seeing around you is all narrow intelligence. Why do we call it narrow? So intelligence that equals or exceeds human intelligence at a specific task. So this is very important. Specific task. Can I ask a car to identify a terrorist? Can I ask a self-driving car to identify a terrorist? Do you think a self-driving car would identify a terrorist for you? No, it's not trained for doing that. Okay. Can it understand the sentiment of the person who's driving the car in front? It can't. You need human creativity for that. You have to understand how is that car driver behaving. Okay, so cars are, or AI systems are very good at one task. If you give them one task, they'll outperform they'll outperform humans to a great extent, but that's only to a specific task. And that is why it's a weak AI. Because humans can do multiple things, but if you teach AI or if you use AI on a system, that system is only taught on one task. It cannot do anything better than that one task. Most advances in AI have been primarily in this field. So whatever you're seeing around you, be it your mobile phone Siri, your Apple has Siri, be it self-driving cars, or be it Google search engine. A search engine is only good at searching. Okay, it has been trained to search better and better, much better than humans. A self-driving car can at times actually drive much better than humans. Siri can actually answer much better than humans. Okay, if I ask 100 questions to Siri, highly likely that Siri would answer almost all 100 correctly because it knows how to search and give answers to the questions. A human may not be as good as that. Okay, so that's where AI is today. It's all weak AI. Whatever you're seeing, every system is only specific, only trained on a specific task. It cannot be general. It cannot be general, and it cannot answer every possible situation. So these are all weak AI. Coming back to somebody who mentioned Sophia. Sophia is a true example of weak AI. But then that's how we are right now in the world. We are not in that stage where we perceive that, okay, AI has to be something like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator. But this is just a fictional example. This is where AI would be. I mean, sometime maybe a decade down the line or 2 decades down the line, we perceive that this is what AI will be. But in today's life, look at Sophia, you'll know how difficult it is to kind of talk with Sophia, because Sophia, at the end of the day, the moment you ask some question which is a little difficult, the only answer that you get is, I'm sorry, I have not been exposed to so and so. I don't have an answer for this. Okay. And when somebody asks that, Sophia, what would you do if you have to save humans on this planet? So as per her analysis, you would really need to kill humans to save humans. Okay, so all of these weird answers, all of these ways in which a human wouldn't have behaved, all of them is very prominent in Sophia. So Sophia is not exactly a true AI system. It's just a robo which can kind of move around, which can have mimicking emotions on the face. So it can actually have gestures showing if she's happy or sad based on the dialogue that you're having with Sophia. But internally, what is happening is just listening to the words that or listening to this statement that you're making and trying to understand, is it positive? Is it negative? It is positive, it's giving a smile on the face, else it is giving a sad look on the face. And most of the time, if it is neutral, it's just speaking in a neutral way. That's it. Sophia is only good for that. You ask Sophia that, could you drive a car? Sophia wouldn't be able to drive a car. Okay. So anyway, so that's where artificial general intelligence is in today's life, though we are like way behind, but still a lot of companies speak about AI and they all say that, yes, we are AI enabled. But the funny part about every second company saying that we are AI enabled is just to drag some more eyeballs, and more importantly, getting funding. So that's the whole point. We are still in the world of weak AI, where we are only good, or machines are only good at one specific task. A machine with the ability to apply intelligence to any problem. Okay, Sophia cannot apply intelligence to any problem. Arnold Schwarzenegger applied intelligence in situations where it was being attacked, in situations where it needed to get more, I would say, artilleries, in situations where it had to figure out how to escape in a certain route. So Arnold Schwarzenegger had all of those intelligence. How do you kind of combat that other robot? How do you combat lack of food? How do you combat XYZ problem? If you remember, his battery had died, so he had to throw it away, otherwise it would have exploded. So it had become unstable. So he had this machine had all of those ideas to behave in different situations, how to solve problems in different situations. And that's what true AI is all about. But that's all hypothetical in today's world, because we are nowhere close to it. Strong or full AI is where we want to reach, which is basically the Terminator example. Machines are capable of consciousness, which is like an extreme. If the machine kills a person, the machine should feel bad that, okay, this is not what I should have done. Okay, so these are things still the machines are not equipped with. We are not going to reach a place called as full AI, which is very difficult right now. So it's too early to even speak about the actual general, or rather artificial general intelligence, which is the true one in the true sense. I'm not seeing it anywhere before next one to 2 decades. I hope that day never comes, because if that day comes, you don't know, because consciousness can be very dicey. Okay, it might go in the wrong way also. Okay, yeah, you can reference to a lot of movies like iRobot, I think Alita, and Terminator. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these movies you'll see, these are very prominent ones which actually speak about the true AI. We have not reached that place. True AI is something that is very far away. Yeah, Robo and Telugu, absolutely. Why can't we build many narrow AI and just connect them together to make a perfect AI? So, Akshay, the problem is you are just building one more machine after one more machine. So, the problem is, how many problems do you want to teach your computer? How many problems do you think, Akshat, are there in the world? Do you think is it countable? It's infinite. How many machines will you make? So does it make sense to make multiple weak AIs and join them to make a perfect AI? Would that ever be possible? It's impossible. Jarvis, on the other hand, if you see Iron Man, Jarvis is somebody who can actually figure out solution answers to different problems. Jarvis has not experienced each of these problems, but it can actually come up with answers. So that is where true AI is. Okay, and Tony Stark doesn't actually train Jarvis. Jarvis is figuring out the answers by itself. Okay, Jarvis is doing the calculation. Jarvis is telling Tony Stark what next that he should do. Jarvis is pointing out proof of certain events that Tony Stark is trying to analyze. So Jarvis is more like a human who's interacting with Tony Stark. You never can achieve that by multiple weak AI systems. So it has to be a lot more complex system, by the way. So in today's world, we are still in that phase where we are in the weak AI section and things are not as it seems. Now, Jarvis example is the artificial super intelligence, where not only computers are smarter than humans in every field, okay, but it has the whole concept of human being. So you have consciousness, you have sentiments, you have emotions. You are smarter than humans in almost everything. Okay, practically every field you are smarter than humans, and you are creative in some sense. That's the artificial super intelligence, which is like, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but if it does happen, trust me, humans have nothing to contribute in the world any further. So this is something that I don't know if it'll ever come in. So the iRobot, the Wiki supercomputer, was basically one of these artificial super intelligence, where this computer not only had its own emotions of hate and other stuffs, it also had ideas how to kill humans, how to destroy humans, how to rule over them. So everything was controlled by that computer. The computer actually ran the entire company by then. So on similar lines, Jarvis in Iron Man. So that's where the world wants to head to, but it's very far. I mean, it's too far to think of. So what is not AI? which we think as AI. It's basically humanoids. Okay, humanoid robots with similar intelligence. A lot of people call Sophia as AI. But let's say Sophia is just a robot. It's a robot which has certain processors inside running few programs, which decides what Sophia has to do as the next action. Should it raise her hand for a handshake, or should it smile because somebody cracked a joke, or should it answer in a neutral language because somebody has asked for some information? So it's a very simple idea. It's not even a proper AI. It's the most weakest form of AI we can actually look into. Science fiction movies depict robots capable of thinking, learning, even showing emotions. Do you think Sophia can understand the pain that people have when you lose something that's very dear to you? No way. Sophia will never understand, because Sophia is what? It's a it's just a simple program that interprets the situation and gives out an expression. That's it. But the feeling, okay, the pain that humans have, that is not there. Okay. Even Mark Zuckerberg's Jarvis is very nascent. It's a very weak AI. It's just nowhere close to what true AI is. So anyway, so friends, our whole discussion around today's session is to clarify the idea between AI and not AI. So whatever you're seeing around you, if I have to generalize, we all are seeing weak AI. And if you just think through why we call it weak AI, try to understand, is that system able to solve other problems? A self-driving car, is it able to solve identification of terrorists? Is it able to solve say translating somebody's language? If somebody is saying, hey car, stop, stop, does the car really understand that this guy is asking this car to stop? Okay, so these are things which we all have to think through. They all are only good enough to do one task, and that's what they have been trained for. So that's how today's AI is all about. IBM Watson, even if you see that system, it is a collection of multiple smaller systems, Yamini. And today I'll show you GCP, which is very similar in some way. I'll show you how Google Cloud platform, we can use ready-made stuffs, which are small, weak AI-enabled systems, to solve our day-to-day problems. We have a lot of situations where I, as a human being, might not be the best person to solve the problem, but if you see, computers can actually solve it very easily, and we'll see how simply we can do it by using Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so we'll actually implement today AI without even knowing too much around AI, and that's the best part, that cloud companies today have made it really easy for us to apply weak AI. So most of these solutions are weak AI, and you can build your own product out of it very easily. There's a long way to go before conscious robots can be developed. It's way far. So right now, if you see, it does sweeping, it does seeing, it does walking, and very basic stuffs, not at all applying any kind of brains. Sophia has got a lot of publicity, a lot of popularity, but that's all. The whole concept is that it's still a simple machine, because you crack a humor, you crack sarcasm, Sophia will not understand. Okay, if it's a humor that is in the form of sarcasm, or if it's a complex humor, Sophia won't understand. If you ask Sophia to laugh, Sophia can laugh, because that is a statement that Sophia can understand. But if you crack a joke around Donald Trump, Sophia might just try to find out if this is a fact or not a fact. That's it. It won't really understand that it was some kind of a joke. Today we are nowhere near artificial general intelligence, and that's where the world is. So let's not get too overhyped about AI, but rather be smart and build smaller, weaker systems that can solve our regular problems. So that's what our entire focus is going to be for this session, that we are going to be practical around what kind of problems we have around us on a day-to-day basis, and how can I apply simple AI to actually solve these problems. So thought as a complete independent of human input, but self-driving cars, trust me, you still need humans to monitor. Okay, a true AI wouldn't have wanted a human to monitor it, but a self-driving car, even today, humans have to monitor, because if you have been following Google self-driving car, there was an accident where a lady lost her life because the self-driving car couldn't see the lady crossing the street in front of the car. So accidents are going to happen, and these computers are not capable totally. So humans have to oversee these operations. Now, why there's so much of buzzword around AI, and why everybody's crazily talking about AI, is because a lot of these companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they have democratized AI. And what do I mean by democratized AI? They have made it very easy. It has become as simple as installing few programs on your system, and then integrating it with your product. So suppose you have a website, and on this website, if you're showing a video and you want to identify faces, or if you have a picture and you want to identify faces, like Facebook, you go ahead and watch images on Facebook, you'll see the faces are marked out. So if you want to do that, okay, or you want to kind of find objects in a particular video, all you have to do is your website, you have to integrate with backend, where there's a standard program that Google has provided you. You run this program, you integrate with your website with that program, and it'll solve all these problems in a very simple way. So hardly say 10 to 15 lines of code. Even if you don't know the code, Google has even been so good that it gives you out the code. So that easy it has become in today's life to actually implement simple AI problems. I mean, to solve simple regular AI problems, you can very easily solve it. Understanding the sentiments in a text. Very often we use sentiment analysis. Can you think of an example and tell me where do you think sentiment analysis could be important for us? I'll leave this open to anybody. I mean, anybody can take charge and tell me where do you think sentimental analysis can be very helpful. So reviews in Amazon, or product reviews, as Ankit says. Sunil says election results. Barkha says Facebook likes. Okay, so just take a simple example. If you see product recommendations, okay, sorry, product reviews on Amazon or Flipkart. What does a sentiment around a product review really help you understand? If somebody has a particular product in Amazon and it is very positively rated by most of the people, versus there's some different product in Flipkart which is highly negative, so you very well know that this product is being liked by the users, this is not being liked by the users. If that's the case, what do? You also might want to start selling this product in Flipkart, because highly likely people might start buying this product on Flipkart as well, because people like it on Amazon. Okay, so how do you compare your product with your competitor's product? If this is getting more positive reviews and this is getting less positive reviews, you know that the competitor's product is doing good. Now you start analyzing what is good about the competitor's product. So that first level information, which product is good, why is it good, how much good is it? These all information you can easily derive by using sentiment analysis. So today I'll actually walk you through one simple example. It's like few lines of code and hardly anything that I had to do out of myself. I mean, I had to apply brains. It's all done by Google. Google has made it so easy that today sentiment analysis is just few lines of text. Okay, on similar lines, I'll also show you how does it identify pictures. Within pictures, how does it understand the sentiment in the picture? So that these are things that I'll show you in a very simple step. I don't even know the code properly, but I can still do it. That's the whole point. So this is where you will realize that at the end of the session, when I show you the hands-on, that today companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, they are trying to democratize AI and make it easily accessible to everybody. All you have to know is basic idea of how do you implement Python code and how do you integrate it with your website, because mostly you will have a team who's going to build the website and you will integrate the cloud services to the website. That's it. So as simple as that. You don't have to really break your head to actually use AI in today's world. So the sudden growth has been because of multiple factors. Hardwares have become really cheap. And today, if you have to run a supercomputer sitting at home, how would you do that? Will you buy the supercomputer? First of all, do we have that kind of money to own a supercomputer at home? I don't think so. So the question is, how do I then run a supercomputer sitting at home? The answer is very easy. You host it on cloud, you pay only for what you use. If you're using for 7 minutes, you only pay for 7 minutes. That's it. You might run into a few $1,000s, but that's it. You have run a supercomputer for 7 minutes. But then you can have access to that kind of hardware in today's world. It's no big deal. A lot of data. Everything around you is data. If you just look at WhatsApp, how much data do you think WhatsApp is generating on a daily basis? So you are sending pictures, text, images, videos, documents, and whatnot. So every day, if you even on an average, if you say that every day I'm using, say, 200 lines of text, okay, if I'm making, say, 200 lines of text every day, if you're a heavy user, I would say, if you're a heavy user on WhatsApp, 200 lines is nothing for them. So 200 into 30 days is like 6,000 lines you are contributing every month to WhatsApp. Now these 6,000 lines is technically, that's almost like a novel, I would say. So you're making nothing less than a novel, which has like roughly 6,000 lines. So every person on this planet who's using WhatsApp, okay, 60% of them are writing a novel every month. That's the kind of data that you're contributing to WhatsApp every month. Cloud computing, as I said, is that answer to own massive amount of processing power sitting at your home on your simple laptop, which might even be a laptop that you bought 10 years back. You can still run a supercomputer on that laptop because you don't own it. You're just renting it out from the cloud and you're running it there. The algorithm and architectures of all these complex situations have become so easy and so accessible to humans that almost everybody is now capable to use AI. And today's example is exactly that. How do you use AI at your home? Computer languages like Python has made it extremely easy for even non-programmers. So people who have never coded in life, even today they are capable of writing programs because of programming languages like Python. They have made it so easy for people that even if you read a Python program, it's more like a broken English program. So you're reading a broken English line. So it's so easy in today's world. And capital, yes, as always, money has been growing for only companies that are smart enough to accept technology. People who have accepted technology, they have grown in life. So capital is not a challenge if you're ready to upskill, if you're ready to upgrade yourself. Now, looking back at what has really dynamically changed is hardware. Okay, something which was not even possible a few years back. In today's world, it's totally possible. Computers can process videos at a massive pace. Totally possible. The contributor is GPUs. GPU is basically a kind of processing unit. Unlike CPUs that we have in our regular laptops, GPU becomes all the more powerful. You see, there's an exponential jump in the way GPUs can process. They are like exponentially higher than CPUs. So 40 years, what CPU has kind of achieved from say 1980 to 2010, we had introduction of GPUs. So what 30 years, what CPU had attained in the first year itself, GPU was much better than CPUs. And then over a period, GPU has become so broad, so fast that a CPU doesn't even come in comparison to GPUs. So why GPU is where GPUs is currently used is a lot of people, if you know, in gaming, people often have GPU enabled laptops. If you're working with heavy processing like say animations, you use GPU because computer processors, regular CPUs are not capable to process that kind of data. So since we already have GPUs, we can make use of GPUs to kind of apply powerful solutions for our regular AI-based problems. Lot of data, as I said, is accessible. It's almost running to zettabytes. What the world's 90% of the data has been generated in the last 2 years. That's the kind of data that is being generated. Cloud gives you access to almost any kind of server that you want. You want a 8 GB server. You want a 16 GB server. You need a 32 GB server. You need 100 computers, which are 32 GB servers in itself. You can just have it at a few clicks of your computer. Algorithms have evolved. So machine learning is basically heavily dependent on machine learning and deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. We'll not get into the technicalities of these two right now, but understand these are programs that actually help you introduce intelligence in machines. So how do you introduce intelligence in machine? You have to know these algorithms that are commonly used in machine learning and deep learning. So these have evolved massively. Things have become very straightforward, very simple. They have become very powerful over a period. And if you just go by the amount of publications, the research that is going on in today's life, today's world is enormous. 879 papers alone in 2017, 2018, 19 figures I don't have, but it's going to be even bigger than this. It's going to be exponentially bigger. So if you see, it's actually exponential rise. There's an exponential rise. So this is how it is even for the last 2 years. Most of the researchers have been focusing on how to make your machines more and more intelligent and how to get there in the most fastest way possible. Okay. So it's all started in 1958. John McCarthy wanted to kind of develop a language that can actually help you introduce some kind of intelligence in computers, considering there is a list of tasks that you do to achieve intelligence. John McAfee introduced Lisp, which is a list processing, and it is still widely used. But today's world is seeing a massive shift to Python and R, but Python being the de facto language, I would say, for AI. So everybody can work on Python. Python is open to everybody. It's a very simple language, and anybody can work on Python. So anyway, I don't think there's too much of information that we need to really focus here. It's more about the money part. But let's come to a part which is more important and more relevant from all of our perspectives. So we all are kind of interested, and the whole reason why you're attending the session is that we all are interested to get into the space of AI. Now, if somebody is really interested to get into the space of AI, the whole point is, what do I do? Now, everybody can just learn AI, but after that, what? What kind of roles can I get into? What am I cut out for? Okay, so one of the most popular job opportunities that are rising in the market right now, it's called as AI engineer. This resembles very close to something which we also call as data scientist, but data scientist is a subset of it. AI engineer requires a lot of skills apart from just data science and machine learning and deep learning. You would also need to understand robotics. You also need to understand, audio. You also need to understand speech. You also need to understand text. So there are multiple things that AI engineer needs to be doing. To a great extent, robotics is something that is very interesting to a lot of companies right now. So they are looking at people who are data scientists plus knowledge of robotics. So these are kinds of roles which are growing pretty fast. The most common one, even in today's world, the most common one is the data scientist role. Data scientist, I'll come towards the end of the session, and I'll explain what exactly is a data scientist and why most of us are cut out for data scientist roles. And even if I become a data scientist, do I really have to be a data scientist in the true sense of being a scientist, a researcher, or is it something beyond that? Can I be a manager of a data science project? Can I be a architect of data science project? Can I be a simple machine learning engineer? Can I be an analyst? So these are all sub variations of data scientists where every different category of people can be put in. So there are different roles in IT, similar roles are also there in data science, and everybody is cut out for their respective roles. And finally, you can be an AI consultant. A lot of people who understand AI in today's world and are people who usually have worked in business development, people who have worked in consulting. A lot of companies are looking out for these kind of people. Every company needs them today or tomorrow. These are the true people who can understand how AI works and how does it fit back to real world problems, and they can pitch the solutions. So this is also open to a lot of people who are in the non-technical front, consulting, business development. So if you understand AI, you are capable enough of grabbing roles which these are actually very valued roles for companies, because you won't get very good BD folks who can actually explain AI, how does AI solve a particular problem and how do their AI products fit into the market. So very few people in today's life you'll actually come across who are really good AI consultants. Uh, what we'll do today is we'll just see a few of the examples like object detection or face detection. So considering we are just running out of time, it's already 9:50, and I was supposed to complete everything by 10. So what I'll do is I'll quickly first show you the use case. So let's now focus on the idea of cloud and how do I use cloud's already ready-made solutions to solve a simple problem that I am facing on a day-to-day basis. So the use case that we'll first use is that of a picture. So let me just open up my Google Cloud for all of you. Okay. So let me know once all of you can see my screen. So I haven't yet shared it. Give me a moment. I'll just share my screen. Okay. So is my screen visible? Are you able to check out my screen? Okay. Excellent. So how many of you have heard about Google Cloud Platform? So GCP. So Google gives you a platform where you can simply run massive systems and you only pay for what you use. Okay, so you don't have to really own anything. Google gives you all of the provision. Okay, so go to the website google.cloud.com and you will find what Google is helping you today in today's world. This is like something that's really big. I can control the entire world. I mean, I can control entire youth systems just by sitting at home with few simple clicks. So I'll actually walk you through one such use case, which is actually, it sounds very difficult to digest. I mean, initially it'll be very difficult to digest, but I'll tell you how I did it. So first things first, when you have a Google Cloud platform, you can all try it out. It is $300. They'll give you credit, which is quite a lot of money. So $300 you get for free. So all you have to do is go to cloud.google.com, register yourselves, and you would have access to a huge power that you won't realize till you don't use it. Okay, so $300 is free, so you can all try it out. First, go to your Google. This is the console.google Google Cloud, cloud.google.com. So go to your console. I'll just paste the link for all of you. So don't try it now because you have to register. So you have to register. So I'm just giving you the links which it will come handy for you. Create your own virtual machine. So what is a virtual machine? It's like your own laptop or your own server on the cloud. So you don't technically have it physically in your place. It's there on the cloud and you can use it just by sitting at home. So this is where the actual server is. You can connect to the server using SSH. Now, SSH is basically a mechanism through which you can connect servers. So this is how it opens up when you connect to the server. Okay. Now, once you have created your own machine, I want to run AI systems on this machine. I want to run AI. Okay. I want to run few solutions based on AI on this system. So first things first, I'm not very well versed with AI. So what do I do? So what is the solution that Google can help me out with? How can Google make me really powerful? So Google comes up with a great idea of API. It's called as APIs and services. This is the topic that we are looking at. So application protocol, application programming interface. So this is basically the dashboard that you have to go to. Now, I have different kinds of problems. I have problems which are related to speech, which is audio. I have problems related to, say, vision, so that you're seeing something like face recognition. I have problems related to video intelligence. I have problems related to, say, text. In text, I want to do sentiment analysis. So there are different kinds of problems. What are the standard problems that you usually learn once you get into AI? So there could be multiple types of problems. I've shortlisted, say, 3 problems. One is related to vision, where I'm seeing a photo and I want to identify if that person is, who's that person. I want to identify what is being spoken about this person. I want to identify if this person is laughing, smiling, happy, sad. What is this kind of, what is this person trying to, the sentiment of this person. I would also like to understand in the photo what is so prominent, something like a logo, or it could be violence in the photo, or it could be something that is not acceptable. Okay, so you want to figure out all of these ideas on the photo. So for that, you need to enable computer vision. So you have to search for vision. So let's see what Google has provided us. Google has provided us with Cloud Vision API. So when you go to APIs and search for Cloud Vision API, what you need to do is you got to enable it. Okay, you have to enable this API. For me, it is already enabled, so it is showing as disabled. So you can disable it now, but it's already enabled for me. You see, I've used it for some time. Just before the session, I was just trying to explore and see if everything is working fine. So you see here, it was used for some time. So you have to go ahead and enable a vision API. Similarly, I wanted to understand text. So I will enable my Cloud Natural Language API. So I want to see what is the, so you see here, it's actually disabled. So sorry, enabled. So that is why you're getting option to disable. So something else, let's see what else API is there. Let's see speech. I haven't, if I'm not wrong, yeah, I've not enabled this text to speech. So if you want to have a text to speech API, you'll get something like this, and you need to enable the API. It'll try to see if you have enabled or disabled. So the best part about API based solution is that even if you don't know how does it really work internally, you don't have to worry. They are experts in this. You can use their expertise to solve your problem. So you can enable and you can try this API. Okay. So one was vision, one was language. Let's see video intelligence. So I think video intelligence is also enabled because I was using it. So you see it's already enabled. So you have to enable these APIs. Now coming back to our discussion where, okay, once I have enabled all the APIs, APIs are the things that make my life really easy, really straightforward. What next? So what next is this. Google has it has kind of open sourced the entire code, the code that is required for you to run the programs. So there's a link called as github.google, github.com, Google APIs, Google Cloud, Python. So in Python, you can actually download all of these different activities that Google is trying to solve. What kind of activities? Activities which I'll just read out the ones that we spoke today. Something like speech. Google can identify your speech, convert it to text, or identify text and convert it to speech. Google can identify, say, text to speech is this one. Google can translate for you any language to any other language. Google can look at videos and tell you what is going on in the video. It can identify objects for you. Google can see pictures and help you understand the picture. Language. Today we spoke about language. Google can see the text and tell if it's positively sentiment, if it's a positive sentiment, if it's a negative sentiment. So Google has given many weak APIs. All of you see it's many weak APIs. Only focused on language, only focused on speech, only focused on text to speech, only focused on translating languages, only focused on understanding videos, only focused on understanding vision as in photos. So if you go inside these folders also, you'll see that Google actually has written a lot of stuff that what does this API do? So if you go to this link in itself, you have tons of information that Google is providing. What are these different systems trying to achieve? What is the video intelligence? What is the vision? What is speech? What is Firestore, PubNub, PubSub? What is Google Bigtable, Cloud? So these are like tons of them, but let's focus on simple ones. Okay, so we'll focus on 2 or 3 majorly common ones: vision, video intelligence, and say language. So these are 3 things which we all understand very easily. So what you have to do is you have to first download this into your system. So you have to copy this, go to your whichever directory you're working in. Okay, I've already done this, so you'll actually find it in my local system. So Google Cloud Platform, all you have to do is git clone and insert. This will download this entire file here into this local folder. Okay, so for me it was already done. So before this, there are few steps which one needs to do, and all of the information is actually given in these websites. So documentation. So when you go to this documentation, cloud.google.com, in the documentation, Google has been kind enough to tell what are the steps that one needs to follow to achieve this. Okay, now obviously my system is a little slow. It's not downloading right now. So I've just shared the link with all of you. This will have all the steps that one needs to follow to reach the output. Now I've downloaded all of these weak AI. There are multiple weak AI systems, and I will use them to solve my problem. So let's see, if I had to do it programmatically, what would I have done? So if I had to do it programmatically, what would I have done? Okay, so first things first, let's go to the desired folder. So, okay. So let's go to the desired folder. So CD, say Google Cloud, and that we are going to do vision problem first. So in vision, what you have to do is, okay, I might not be very good at writing the program to solve a vision problem. So that's where Google comes in. It gives you all the documentation. It gives you all the ready-made solutions. You don't even have to break your head on the solution. They have given you sample implementation of these. So you see all samples. So when you go to the documentation, you can click on all samples. It will show you all the samples. So what can you do to kind of detect faces? Okay, if you want to detect faces or you want to understand certain ideas around the image, what do you do? So Google has been kind enough to give you all of these samples ready-made. So what I did was I copy pasted one of the sample, and let's say face detect. Okay, so this is how, what can you detect from a face? This is a code which Google has already given me here. Okay, if you see here, Google has listed out all of these codes. Yeah, detecting faces. So what do you need to run this? Okay, Google has given all of the steps that you need to run this. It has given the program for you also. Okay, it has given the program for you also. So point is, yes, everything is provided by Google. So I think we are using image properties for today's example. So let me just show you what we are going to do here from this, the code that Google has given us ready-made. What do we do? So I just copy pasted that code here, and I have a file. Okay, I have a file which is test and dt.jpg. Now, what is dt.jpg? I'll just show you, and I think all of you will be able to identify who's dt.jpg. So this is dt.jpg. So I hope all of you know who this person is, and everybody is well versed with this person, right? So I will pass this image to the computer. Okay, I will not even bother thinking through how will I understand what is this guy's reaction is all about. I want the computer to see this image and tell me what is the behavior of this person in the image. So I'm passing this image to this program. I have not written a single line of code for this program. The only code line that I wrote was this. This was the only line that I wrote because I wanted to understand how was that image really behaving. That's it. So I passed my image to this program. So let's see what happens when I run this code. So I just run the Python program. I just added that one line, and you see here, it is identifying the face, and at the same time, it is also telling what? This guy is angry. So what does this mean? So what does this mean? That the computer actually looked into this image, okay, and it tried to identify the facial pattern. The facial pattern is that of being angry. It also tells what is the boundary of the face. So if the face of this person was something like this, okay, it was like this, okay, it is telling you that this is the boundary of the face. So you see how a simple program where I have no idea what is underlying, what is going on behind the scenes has actually solved a big problem for me. It is able to identify situations in the image, and it is also telling me where is the face in the entire image. Okay, and it is telling me the kind of emotion or sentiment that the image is trying to portray. So Google has given a lot of such beautiful implementations, and I'll show you how did we use this ready-made solution that Google has given us. How did we use it? We integrated with our front end. So this is my front end. So GCP, all of you can try it out yourself also, gcp.insaid.co. Yeah, so once this loads, you have to upload any image. So let's try to upload the same image again. So let's see how it has worked internally. So we'll again upload it here and we'll try to analyze. So you uploaded the same image. I've created a website now instead of a backend, because in black and white, it doesn't really look good, right? So I would want it to be in front end. So when you put it up in front end, you see the image has got loaded and it has identified the faces. Okay, it has identified the face, and if you see here, angry, possible. This is what you got as output here. So how do you give the backend output to front end is where your actual project is going to be. Okay, how do you show whatever you're getting in the backend? How do you show it to front end? And followed by a few labels like this guy is a spokesperson giving a speech. The gesture is very aggressive. It's an official kind of situation, public speaking. It is giving you some kind of confidence. I would say it's a confidence number, that how confident it is based on this confidence number, how confident it is. Okay, and if you want to also understand further that what else can I speak about this image, Google has given you that idea also, that it can search and tell you from websites where was this image used. So you see Donald Trump confidence score is very high. This is the place where the image was used. Again, these are the places where it was used. Speaks about US, confidence is slightly higher, on the higher side. There's a presidential campaign. probably because one of the images actually showed this image in a presidential campaign. US presidential election, Republican Party. It gives you a lot of search results as well. I didn't know how to do it. Okay, but Google gives you all the privileges. It has all those weak AIs, and you can integrate and form such applications. You can see the properties of the image, and then you can do a safe search and try to understand. Adult, very unlikely. At times, Google gives you weird answers, but then that's okay. I mean, Google is trying to match it with whatever information it has. Spoof, unlikely. Medical, very unlikely. Violence, very unlikely. And it tries to identify a situation. Not always will it be perfect, but it tries to identify most of the time. No logos, nothing else. On similar lines, if you want to kind of try out something more different, say a violence, okay? So if there's a mob that is kind of fighting it out. So if you upload this image, it will look at the image and try to identify what is going on in the particular situation. Now, in this case, you see it's not loading the image, but that's because of my internal issues. But yes, it is definitely identifying the image internally and saying there are people with a high confidence, there is crowd with a high confidence, there's something happening, there's an event, there's police also present, something related to physical fitness, so physical actions being taken. In web, there was some kind of a G20 Hamburg summit. There was again Hamburg being raised, again Toronto summit, again G20 summit, again protest. Now this is more close to the image protest, maybe something related to G20 protest. Properties, this is a color, this is a picture properties. But if you go to safe search, you see now it has come up with a beautiful idea that it's a image of violence. It's an image of violence. All of these information, do I know how to extract from an image? No. But does it stop me from actually solving this problem? Again, the answer is no. That is where companies like Google, companies like Microsoft, they have come into play. That even if you're not thoroughly well versed with these ideas, you should be smart enough to write a program that they already give you. I mean, even better that you don't have to write the program. I just copy pasted this program. So I just wrote these lines from what they have already given me. That's it. I added this one line. Instead of their image, I passed my image. So I want to test out this product. So when I tested this product, I actually saw this output. Now, obviously, when you're seeing an output here in backend, that's not same as looking at output when you're giving it to the user. The user wants to see it in a product, on a product like a website. So we built a simple website that could actually show all of these different use cases on the front end. Okay, so beautifully, it kind of comes up with beautiful front end interpretation of the image. And that is where a good product really lies. So AI is not something that is limited to people nowadays. I mean, it's limited to experts nowadays. Even I can do AI, I can build a simple use case just by looking at the image and using Google enabled APIs. Google gives you most of these solutions, and these are like really, really powerful solutions that can solve your day-to-day problems. A very simple case of face identification and sentiment analysis of the image. And that in itself is a very daunting task that I feel when I just blurt out this idea of identifying sentiments in an image. If you think through, you might also feel a little daunting. I mean, you'll feel it's something that's very complex. But then how complex was it? I had to just install I had to run the system on Google Cloud. I had to install a particular package. I had to install this project that Google has already given me, open source. In that project, I already have these codes. I just need to kind of work on this code in the sense that I added my picture instead of existing picture, and I tried to analyze it. And now, once you're comfortable that, yes, this program is working properly, what do you do next? You make a product out of it. Okay, well, how do you make a product? You have a website, you build a website that talks to this program. Okay, and then from the website, what did I do? I just passed my own image. Instead of using the same image that you saw there, I just integrated with this website and I passed my own image. And when I pass my own image, it actually starts identifying different facial features. It says that, yes, this guy is happy. If you go to labels, you'll see gesture, finger, thumbs, and whatnot. If you go to web, you'll see Shah Rukh Khan, zero, Bollywood, this for zero promotion. So the movie he made was zero. He was going on promoting for the movie. Safe searches, everything is fine. And landmark, you don't have as such any landmark. But you see how simply, without even knowing how to analyze images, you can actually come up with solutions for images. And that's the kind of power that Google is giving to you in today's world. So do you really need to be an outstanding programmer for this? Definitely not. Do you really want to be kind of a kick-ass AI engineer for this? No, but you can still build your own products. You can still solve your regular problems. This identifies like joyness in most of the pictures. It's a photograph, people, landmark, tourism. Taj Mahal comes up pretty top in the web search. In the safe search, unlikely, like everything is pretty normal. In landmarks, you see Taj Mahal as being popped up. So Google has given you all of those liberties and power at such an ease. So you really don't break your head onto these things. You just need to know how to use it, how to integrate it. But yes, definitely having said that, Google gives you all of these powers. You are tied up to Google in some sense because these are solving your hard problems. Google is solving that problem for you instead of you solving it. So if you want to solve these problems by yourself, then you got to upskill yourself in the AI world. But even if you don't upskill in AI world, it doesn't stop you from starting to use Google ready-made solutions to solve your day-to-day problems. Now, if you were to use this, you should know the basic idea of what exactly is data science, what exactly is Python, how do you use Python, how does Google come out with all of these answers. So what is this? What does this mean? What is phase bound? What does this mean? So these are simple ideas that you have to learn before you actually can start working on these ideas. And these are no rocket science. Anybody to everybody can do this in today's world. So life has become that easy. Now, finally, what I'll do is I think we are already way past the time. I'll just show you one more use case. So language, if I remember, I told you, yeah. So even in language, they had the ready-made code. All I had to do was, oops, all I had to do was I had to write my own implementation in the sense that most of this code is already given by Google. Instead of their information, hello world, this day is so beautiful, what I did was I wanted to check both. So once I'll check if it is positive, once I'll check if it is negative and see if Google is able to address that. If Google is able to answer that. So first time I'll pass to Google, hello world, the day is so beautiful. And it sounds positive. So you can pass some review also. You can pass some review and see how Google kind of reacts to that kind of review. So when I run this program, you see, hello world, the day is beautiful. It's positive. Okay, 0.5 is positive on the higher side. And if I just change the same line, if I change it to I'm sad, is Google able to identify that? Let's see. So I just changed it to I am sad, and you see Google is able to identify sentiment that it's I am sad, which is negative. Okay, it's a negative score. So you see how simply, without even writing too many lines of code or code which I had no idea about, I can still understand the code. Okay, I can just go through this code and understand that Google is doing some work. It is trying to read some file. It's an image file. It is trying to look into the content, and then what is it trying to do? It is trying to kind of see types, vision types. Okay, in this types, what did it do? It was figuring out some ideas around the vision, and then finally it is kind of telling the properties of the image. Okay, so it is kind of finding properties of the image, and this is something that we all saw. Okay, so detecting properties is this third one. Okay, so if I just upload this, so today is Holi, so I'll upload a Holi picture, a picture of people playing Holi. So if I go to the properties, it'll tell you what are the properties of the picture. If you search for web, you'll see Holi and other festival. Okay, so all of these beautiful ways in which Google is like solving most of my difficult tasks, which ideally I wasn't capable enough to do myself, is where Google AI is today. You don't have to know extreme AI to be able to solve day-to-day problems. But obviously, over a period, you would always want to learn how to do it by yourself. But to start off, nobody is stopping you. And all the more reasons for you to do it because these cloud platforms such as Google, IBM, Microsoft, they have made it so easy in today's world that executing AI is no more a challenge for anybody. And that's where we are today. So I would highly encourage all of you to try out the GCP platform and play around with these ideas because $300 either way you're getting for free. So in those $300, you would want to kind of run this simple project of Google Cloud Python. In this, there are multiple weak AIs. Choose whichever weak AI you like. Okay, if I just show you the list, there are so many weak AIs. Choose whichever you're interested. Speech, language, okay, videos, video intelligence, translate, whichever you like. You can choose any of these and you can start playing around with it. And eventually, if you have somebody who can help you with the front end part, you can ask that person to build you the UI and integrate with your program. So it's as simple as that. I mean, Google in today's world has made it terribly easy to kind of execute AI sitting at home without having too much in-depth knowledge of AI. That is the power that Google offers to all of us in today's life. So with that, I think I'll pause. So you see, it identifies the logo also, Coca-Cola. So that is the kind of power that Google is giving you at your disposal. So with that, I'll halt for my demo. Now I'll speak about how do you actually get into this field of AI. And if you were to kind of traverse in this field of AI, not everybody might be a programmer. So if you're not a programmer,